Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. And in today's broadcast, I just really want to shoot straight about what's going on in the United States of America. And I've got a question to kind of kick it all off, and that is this. Are we on a countdown to destruction here in the United States of America? Now, I know that's a very bold question to ask and to put out there, but when you consider the ways in which the Biden administration has completely destroyed the United States of America just within his very first year of presidency, and I've got 21 ways that I'm going to show you in just a moment in which he's been destroying and obliterating our country and leading us down a path of communism and socialism. But when you consider that 1 year destructive path, you have to ask the question, what on earth are 3 more years of this guy going to bring? 3 more years of this. 1 year complete destruction, 3 years to go. So it's a logical question to ask. Now, before I get into the report, just a quick break. Well, the U.S. has warned its citizens to prepare for a possible Russia cyber attack. Hacking is a key tool for Russia over these past 2 years. The biggest cyber attacks against our U.S. infrastructure have been linked to Russia. Hacker groups here in the U.S. have struck back by taking over Russia government and news outlets. Now, Russia could retaliate by shutting down our U.S. banks, our hospitals, our transportation, or so many more other things. Your own personal data has never been more vulnerable than it is right now. This is why I highly recommend a VPN at Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com. Virtual Shield helps to protect your online identity by making you anonymous online. That means that your ISPs, your hackers, your big tech corporations are all going to have a really hard time tracking the information that you are looking at online. Now, Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com is the only VPN that I will personally use and the only VPN that I trust to use for a couple of reasons. Number one being there's no hidden fees or anything like that. They've got very secure service. They're going to keep you safe. And third, and I think one of the most powerful points that they have is it has a no log policy, meaning it's not even going to be keeping track of your information, unlike those free ones that you have out on the internet. This is why I highly recommend, for protection and security online, hidewithlisa.com Virtual Shield. And it's so easy to sign up for this thing. All you have to do is go to hidewithlisa.com and you can check it out here. And you can see, you can sign up, click that big red button that says get started for free. But the added bonus right now is it has a 30-day free trial and even a 30-day money back guarantee. This is 60 full days of stuff. Get to hidewithlisa.com. If you want more information, it's also found in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. So has the countdown to destruction officially begun? And what I mean by that is, has the countdown to the destruction and desecration of our U.S. democracy officially begun? You see, I am convinced and I believe that the Biden administration has been all about usurping our Constitution, usurping our Bill of Rights, and usurping our freedoms. It is very clear that he is a progressive, aka socialist, which always leads to communism. And these principles are ever so clear with the Biden administration. I do not believe he has America's best intentions at heart. I believe that he has more of a globalist agenda at heart, and he's been very, very clear on this. But the bottom line, he has been rapidly attacking anybody who is in political opposition to him. As you're going to see in a moment, he's been attacking our freedom of speech, quieting anybody who is on his opposition, using big tech, using the FBI, the DOJ, the Department of Homeland Security, and basically weaponizing, if you will, all our branches and multiple branches of governments to do his bidding. And here's the question that I really want to focus in on, and that is this. If we had 1 year of complete destruction by the Biden administration, imagine what 3 years are going to bring. So what I'm going to do today is share with you 21 ways in which Biden has literally desecrated the United States of America. And then I want to leave you with the thought, what's going to happen in 3 more years, which makes the midterm election all the more critical. So let's start with this. Number one, One of the ways in which he is completely proving the fact that he is attempting to defeat Western democracy and dividing the U.S., one of those ways, number one, is inflation. Inflation. We are at a 40-year high. A 40-year high. This is outrageous. Under the Biden administration, things have gotten out of control with inflation, and I do not see him attempting to fix it. In fact, he's putting people on the Federal Reserve who have been there for years, people who have literally done nothing about inflation. Let's just put more of the same back. Number two here, our food, our retail items, our cars, our homes have all skyrocketed in prices. We are paying way more today than we have ever paid in the history of the United States of America, and our wages are not keeping up with the inflated prices. That's number two. And again, I believe this is part of the Democratic, socialist, communist agenda. Number three, food in our grocery stores are in short supply. If you go to the grocery store, there is always massive amounts of missing products, be it tortillas, be it chips, be it meat, be it fill in the blank. Not only that, but we have microchip shortages and shortages of machinery and the whole 9 yards. This is happening under the Biden administration right now. Number four, we also have one of the biggest shipping crises in history. Now, Biden pretends that he's attempting to fix this, but I don't see any real movement from the Biden administration to do so. I am starting to feel that this is all done purposefully to, well, usher in a new kind of America, if you will. Number five, millions of our businesses are short-staffed. If you go to, say, a restaurant or you go to the grocery store, there's always, "I'm hiring" sign. And this is directly because of the policies put out by the Biden administration. He gave people money to stay home. He forced businesses to pay workers long amounts of sick time off. A lot of businesses can't afford that, especially restaurants, where they're already hurting in an industry from the COVID-19 pandemic. But basically, he's purposefully making matters worse for these businesses, making it, and people are staying home rather than wanting to get jobs directly as a result of the Biden policies. So millions of businesses are short-staffed. Number six here, our gas and energy prices have skyrocketed, went out the roof. And this is a direct cause of that is Joe Biden and his administration. I'm going to show you in an article what I'm talking about here. I found this on Breitbart, 10 Joe Biden 2021 blunders that killed our energy. And here's the blunders here. And I think these are very important because remember this, Biden is sacrificing America for climate. He doesn't care about anything else. He wants the whole climate agenda to be first and foremost, and he doesn't care that it's in the middle of a war crisis and a pandemic crisis. Here it is. On the first day of his presidency, he canceled the Keystone Pipeline, something that we desperately needed here in the U.S., especially for our future. Number two, one of his first actions also suspended oil and gas leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in New Mexico. You don't do that unless you're wanting oil and gas and energy to go up, okay? Number three, it's on purpose. His EPA reinstalled regulations that restricted domestic energy production, right? And it basically limited how farmers and ranchers could use their land. Number four, the EPA announced new, and all these are just part of my sixth one here, but last month, the EPA announced more regulations for methane emissions from oil and gas production, transmission, storage, and distribution. Now, this was as of a year ago, so it's not necessarily last month, but basically it caused millions of Americans to lose their job. Biden's EPA is also pushing a new rule regulating greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles. That means the regulation is estimated to raise the average vehicle price by $1,000. Ever wonder why? Another reason they went up there. Number six, Donald Trump pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accord. One of the best things I think Trump did. But then Biden, tyrannical dictator Biden, put us back into it. He rejoined the Paris Climate Accords. Number seven, Biden's decision to put a moratorium on gas and oil leasing on federal land and his goal of banning hydraulic fracking will no doubt please Russia and OPEC as the U.S. loses its energy independence. Number eight, Biden vowed to prohibit fracking, which will cause a massive loss in American jobs. Number nine, Biden's policies have resulted in skyrocketing prices at the gas pump, and I believe he has no intention of making those go down because he's going to mess up his radical leftist agenda. So there you go. All of that is part of number six. The purposeful inflation of our gas and oil by the Biden administration, and they're quite happy of it. And number 7, because I think this is the big one. I'm not going to expand on it too much because it has a lot to do with number 6. But number 7, Biden is sacrificing our country for the climate agenda. We are outsourcing things we don't need to outsource, and he's doing all this in the middle of an already broke economy. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? That's just the economy. Let's move on to what happened under the pandemic, all right? Under the pandemic, let's go to number 8. Biden forced millions of people here in the United States of America to be vaccinated against their will. This is unheard of in the history of the United States of America. That's number 8. That's very tyrannical in nature. Number 9, he forced people to close their business for months. Oh, you can't work. You can't do your job. We're going to close it down. Number 10, he forced people to wear masks, totally against their will. Number 11, he treated our Constitution like toilet paper and claimed that wanting freedom in any way, shape, or form was somehow the bad guy. Socialists, communists, dictators, and tyrants always paint freedom as the bad guy. Number 12, and this is a big one. I've talked about it on Restricted Republic, but he says he had the FBI put out bulletins warning that if you are against COVID-19 mandates, then you could be a potential terrorist. He used the FBI, the DOJ, DOJ, the FBI, and Department of Homeland Security to do these things, putting out bulletins warning of anti-mandate people who, might result to terrorists. And there's 3 bulletins that he put out. Not only that, he created an entire brand new terrorist department to go after domestic terrorists, specifically targeted only at the right, at those who may well be against mandates that he tyrannically implemented here in the U.S. Number 13, he called anyone standing against his mandates insurrectionist, right? Again, this is just in 1 year of presidency, 1 year. And that's the fact I want to drive home. What about the military? Number 14, he forced military personnel he forced them out. You don't want the vaccine? Get out. So this is downsizing, deliberate downsizing of our military. And that's not the only way he downsized it. He also went through and had Austin go through the entire military and get rid of certain Trump supporters or anybody that they deemed was more pro-Trump, and basically did an entire political dissident sweep of our U.S. military. Let's weed it out a little more. And the only reason that I could see someone really doing that is because you want more people politically on your side, like you want a military that's fully Democratic run or whatever. I mean, that's all I could think that's going on here. Number 16, he also implemented woke policies. We have other countries putting out all these videos on how strong their military is, and we're putting out videos on basically how weak it can be. I've never seen such a thing. And this is in the middle of a war that has broken out now between Ukraine and Russia. And we're talking about woke policies and weeding out our military. It makes no sense. Number 17, he downgraded our nuclear arsenal. Now, this is just one that I'm going to leave for you to think about, but we have not built a new nuclear warhead since the end of the Cold War. Now, obviously, I don't want any nuclear warheads. If I had it my way, they would all disappear off planet Earth, right? But we have not had any built since the Cold War, and we no longer have, and this is a key point, we no longer have the infrastructure to create these weapons. We don't have it. And guess what? The average age of a warhead is about 25 years. So what's going to happen to our arsenal? Are we going to be able to defend ourselves from against, countries like Russia and China, or God forbid, we go to a world war, right? Thank you, Biden. Let's talking about the world and everything. How about internationally? What has Biden done internationally? Number 18, right? He had a horrible withdrawal from Afghanistan. Horrible withdrawal. He left American citizens behind. He left Afghan citizens who were helping Americans and were promised stuff here in the United States of America. He left them behind. We also left military behind. And number 19, right? He left $84 billion of military grade equipment behind. And I want to show you this because this is huge. And this is a Fox report here, but here it is. Here's the equipment, just a small list of what they left behind. 2,000 armored vehicles, Humvees, MRAPs, 75,000, nearly 70,000 76,000 vehicles, who armored security vehicles included 45 Black Hawk helicopters and 50 attack choppers, not to mention all this other stuff here, right? So there's a ton. This is billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of military grade equipment. Again, 1 year under Biden. Number 20, how about a war between Russia and Ukraine? Also started under Biden. Biden, in fact, gave kind of a green light, if you will, or I would call it a green light. There really is no other word, when he said, well, if it's just a minor incursion of Russia to Ukraine, then we'll just, put on some sanctions. But if it's more than that, then there will be severe consequences. And what happens? Russia invades Ukraine. All under the Biden administration. And finally, and I really, millions of people, the border. Let's talk about the border. Number 21, he wants to keep the border in Ukraine safe, but he leaves our border massively open in the U.S. These people aren't being properly vetted at the border. Millions are coming in all the time to the United States of America. And no one is really, he's not enforcing any protections on our U.S. border. However, he's building up fences around his capital. 21 ways in which the Biden administration has completely destroyed the United States of America. So I ask you again, and it's an honest question, and I don't mean the destruction of the United States of America being turned to rubble or anything like that. I mean the destruction of our democracy, the destruction of our freedoms, the destruction of our rights, of our Constitution, of our freedoms, of our republic. That's really what we were. We were and are. We are nothing like that anymore. But we're talking about a complete desecration of all of that, leading into some kind of scenario where we're in a dictatorship, we're in tyranny, and we're already there, folks. We've already got tyranny. We don't have freedom online. We don't have, which is why I have a VPN. Hopefully you guys get one there, but which is one of the reasons that we're not free. We're just not free here in the United States. And I think all these mounting disasters are not a coincidence. They are direct consequences of people who have misguided ideologies here in the U.S. and that they're against America exceptionalism. They don't want to make America great. They don't want America to be in power. This is obvious by the fact of what the Biden administration is doing. They don't want us to be a source of peace and prosperity. And when you can't stand up for America here at home, you're definitely not going to stand up for her elsewhere. So I personally believe that we're on a destructive path for our democracy here in the United States of America. Just wanted to share all of that with you. Love to get your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.